We're doing good.
Cool.
I miss you, Nick.
Dude, it's been a while. Feels like it's been a while.
I know.
2 weeks stuck in a house, or at least trying to figure it out what to do.
Have you been busy?
Kind of. Yeah, I've had some painting gigs going on here and there, and but it honestly, the gym has slowed down. It's just what it is. You know, one of the gyms shut down already, and there's only 2 left, but the traffic is slow. There's only 9 people allowed in the gym at a time.
Right. So your gym is still open in Marietta?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Marietta location and the Kennesaw location is still open, but I'm sorry, not the Kennesaw.
No, not Kennesaw.
Yeah, Kennesaw is out. Yeah, Kennesaw is closed until I want to say mid-April, roughly, give or take. I want to say mid-April, at least. Maybe I push it. Who knows?
But the Marietta location is open, and they only allow 9 people in there?
9 people at a time. Yep. So there's an hour allotted per person, and we're having to just keep track of how many people are in the building. But with clients, I have the separate studio that I can work with, so we don't count. But yeah, it's getting tough though. It's definitely
one-on-one though.
Yeah, just one-on-one. Only one-on-one when we're going to the studio.
Excellent. So Nick, you're a certified personal trainer.
I am.
And you're a fitness guru. So
I guess you could say that, maybe.
And you're my buddy. I've known you for a while. So I asked you to come on board today to, you know, we're living a crazy time right now. People can't go to the gym, as you said. Many of us that were working out regularly can't go to the gym anymore because most gyms are closed.
Yeah.
And we're working from home. So, and with the pollen being the way it is, you know, 8,500.
It's literally like Armageddon outside right now. It's insane.
People like me can't go out and walk because we're going to, as soon as we step outside, we're going to get the sniffles and the coughs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then other people are going to look at us weird, like, you know. So I asked you to come on as a personal fitness guru and kind of let us know of a few workouts we can do at home when we're when we're in our office or you know, down in the living rooms or whatever, just to keep us going. Just to keep us going and keep us active. So what's going on?
So here's the thing. For me personally, I think the simplest way to put it is because more often than not, most people don't have any equipment, and it's hard to just throw out the names of exercises. So I think it'd be easier to also kind of like pair some of the exercises that I'm about to explain. What I'd rather do is, like in this video, explain the process behind what it is that I'm kind of like, how do I say it? Like my approach to using the movements. But simply put, there is no equipment that I would pretty much use in its entirety of the, I guess you could say, like the regimen. Like I want to make it strictly body weight, not a band, not a dumbbell, simply your body weight, a wall, and a floor. That's all you need, and that's as simple as it is. And I think I'll probably send you like a link just so you can have something to kind of post with this video. So the video is not just me rambling about exercises that some people won't know, but at least they can kind of pair it up and understand what it is that I'm telling them. Because most people know what a burpee is, some people don't. Almost everyone knows what a push-up is, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that kind of go into it. So for me, especially, like I said, not even stepping outside, in the living room, just your body weight, I really think what I'd like to do is, and what I honestly recommend most of my private clients that I work with at homes is, depending on what you're looking for, because if you're doing, for example, something more cardio and upbeat, you can't just do a push-up and a sit-up and just a squat. It's going to need to be something more intense. It's going to be something a little bit more fast-paced. And also the way you rest in between. So what I kind of like to recommend is something called Tabata. So it's a Tabata style circuit training. So what it is, so for example, let's say you do one station of 3 exercises. And the 3 exercises are burpees for 1 minute, squat jumps for 1 minute, and say lunge hops for 1 minute. You do each one for a minute, but in between those minutes, you only take 15 to 20 seconds of rest.
Okay.
Then after you complete all 3, you take a break and then you repeat that whole entire sequence, or you can go on to the next batch of exercises. If like you said, if it's supposed to be something more regarding, in regards to more cardio, like that's the main goal, I would stick to things that are, you know, fast-paced. Burpees, high knees, squat jumps, lunge hops. I mean, just things of that sort. But at the same time, those aren't the only things you can do. You can do wall squats. You can do wall tricep extensions, which are a little tricky. But like I said, I would rather send a link so people can look at them, like a little quick YouTube link to each one, just so they know. But I just wanted to explain that's the style that I would utilize for cardio. You don't have to do them that way. It could just simply be 5 burpees, 5 squats, 5 push-ups, and you do it at your own pace, or you can make it fast and intense and make it a 15 to 20-minute workout. So I think for me, kind of what I want to explain to you here is just maybe depending on how, like for you, maybe you can't go out, but some other people can. So
Yeah,
maybe some other people can incorporate a jog outside, and maybe they can't. So instead of a jog, you might just have to make it a high knee for 30 seconds, rest for 30, now repeat 30 seconds worth of burpees, 30-second rest, and repeat. So there's a lot of different things that could happen, but I think it's ultimately going to boil down to what you're looking to do. Strength-wise, yes, you can squat, and yes, you can do push-ups, but again, without the increased resistance, all you can do is really just maintain a lot of your own, I guess you say, like the strength that you've already got, but it's going to be a lot harder to develop muscle with just bodyweight exercise. It's possible. I mean, hey, if you got a pull-up bar, then we're really talking. That's a little bit, like I said, no equipment-wise. You know, it's pretty tough for anyone to do pull-ups right now with very little equipment that they have, with any equipment that they have. But yeah, so I think for me, I would stick to something called, like I said, Tabata style. It's a circuit. You either do it for 30 seconds to a minute, but if you're going past a minute, the chances are you're not going to get your heart rate up for a minute and a half straight. It's just not going to happen. If you're doing burpees for a minute and a half, I don't see how you're going to go and jump right into mountain climbers right after that without keeling over. You know what I mean? It's just not going to, not that it's not going to happen, but it's pretty intense. You know, so I think my recommendation to rest would be 30 seconds max if you're trying to keep the heart rate up. But if you're trying to focus on getting stronger, maybe you can't do push-ups right now, maybe work on modified push-ups on the knees. And from there, work on doing what's called a negative rep. So instead of like when you're doing a push-up, when you're coming down and fall into the floor, it's called a negative rep. Maybe most people can go down, but not many people can come back up.
Right.
So maybe that's how you practice. Maybe you're not worried about, going fast. Maybe you're not worried about doing a push-up and jumping and all that stuff. But maybe you can work on the things that, some of those weaknesses that you may have, which is, like I said, a negative rep. You work on your way going down. You cheat your way back up by stepping back up. You don't try to push yourself up just like a normal push-up. You get on your knees, you help yourself back up, come down again, 2-3 second hold. And, there's a lot of different things you can do in that manner. But yeah, so that would be it. And I want to send you those links too after we're done with this video. I'll just send you a couple. Yeah, because then you can just kind of just attach it as a comment, and I'll just tell you one of these video clips is for the push-up negative rep. One of these videos is for the burpee. You know what I mean? So there's just a couple different options for that.
So how many different exercises are in this program?
Honestly, it can go. I want to stick to 10. I want to do 10 exercises, just nothing too fancy, nothing crazy. And so, for example, like a burpee. Not many people can do a burpee, but I would like to send maybe a modification to it. So if you can't do the jump and you can't do the push-up part, you can do a step-back version of a modified version of the burpee, which would be stepping back rather than jumping back. And instead of doing the push-up, you skip the push-up. Like there's some modifications that I'd want to send, but I think we're going to keep it to 10 exercises.
Excellent. Yeah, just send me that link so I can attach it to this and people can download and check it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if we are limited on time, what 3 exercises? I know you told us about the circuit training. What 3 exercises do you recommend that people do to stay active, to keep it simple and limited?
I really would say, excuse me, I really think the top 3, if I had to choose, and again, they're intense, but we're talking about what's going to work. Burpees, wall squats, and planks. Those are the 3, that's
really?
What it is. Obviously, you can throw in squats, but again, it's a wall squat's a little bit more intense in terms of holding that position for a while. It's a little harder. A lot of people do squats. For myself, I may squat all the time, but a wall squat will still humble me because it's still intense. It's still utilized. In the Army even, and regular training is just a thing that they do because at the end of the day, that kind of isometric hold, it's a very intense thing to do. So, and maybe that actually might be better for some people's knees. Squatting full range of motion might not be too comfortable, but getting on a wall, holding yourself in maybe 3/4 of the position is not as intense. It's bearable. You still get some of the effects. But again, it's case by case, because I've got clients who can't do a wall squat because it's too much pain on the knees. But for some reason, we do a box squat where it's, let's say they have a low chair, they do squats to the box or to the chair, and then they stand back up. That's fine for them. So again, it's subjective, and everyone's going to kind of work with what they know they've got, But I wouldn't just skip an exercise completely. Like I said, I would, even though I say burpee, at the end of the day, that shouldn't freak anyone out. That should just, maybe it will be a little concerning, but ultimately it should be something you look further into to just understand. Maybe you can't do it now, but eventually you can by working your way up. It's just one brick after one brick after one brick, and you just keep on working on it. And like I said, the modifications there's just plenty of them. And like I said, I'm going to try to just boil them down into the clips after we finish up today.
And the burpees, I've done burpees with you, and
yeah,
they're probably my least favorite exercise.
I don't think anyone likes, let alone exercising, but I don't think anyone likes burpees.
But also because they're a little bit hard on your knees.
Oh yeah, they can. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you wouldn't recommend anybody doing it if they have bad knees or bad back.
I wouldn't recommend them doing a burpee with jumps, but I would still recommend. For example, everyone has to get up and off the floor.
Right.
At the end of the day, you fall down, you got to get back up. That's exactly what a burpee is, just a little bit more intense with the jump and a push-up. You can skip the push-up and you can skip the jump. So when you go down, you just get your hands on the floor, and you step back and you step back up. That's it. It may be a little uncomfortable, but ultimately it's still another version of doing it. And I would, like I said, I wouldn't entirely skip it. If regular squats hurt you, just doing them body weight, standing free weight, then maybe you do a wall squat and you don't go so low. Maybe you want to go down about a quarter or two and work your way lower and lower. Or maybe if you have a low stool or chair, you sit down and you stand back up. Everyone has to sit down in their car. Everyone has to sit down on the toilet. Everyone's got to sit down, and you got to get back up. So there really is no excuse to just skip out on the squat. You do it every single day. I'm doing it right now as we speak. It's because I'm sitting down. You know what I mean? Everyone's doing it. You're
always working out, Nick. You're just...
You got it, man. You got it. That's as simple as it is. You always have to. We always will. But there's that, man. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's because it's hard to do it just on a video like this, where I don't get to see the client or the prospect and work with them and see what kind of limitations they have. Because then there are those who just flat out, they've got a rod inside their ankle and they don't have that kind of flexion in their ankle where they can't even do the squat. Fine. Then you know what you do? Maybe you just do high knees, and maybe when you do your plank, you do leg lifts. There's so many different things you can do, and it's hard to just compartmentalize it into a video like this where I don't even have them in front of me. But I do want to just give you that list of the 10 exercises that I think personally would be beneficial to anyone. That I think even if it weren't for the coronavirus, even if it weren't for this quarantine, they're still good to do every day. Planking every day, squatting every day, which we already do, but like these are just movements that are basic to just necessary life and living,
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Do send me that list so I can attach it.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Now let's go to your personal training. So you do one-on-one personal training with at home with people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And how is that going? Good?
So it's been good. I have only got about 2. I've had a couple back away, which again, it's understandable. I don't blame them. And again, it's like, for the ones who are sticking with me are a little bit in the younger age range, which is, like, again, it's not that we're immune to it, but the likelihood is a little lower, and we're still taking precautions. We're still being safe and sanitizing and whatnot, but it's definitely getting a little tricky. It's just ebbing and flowing right now.
And that's what I was gonna go towards, is that now that people are a little bit more conscious about social whatever you call it,
social distancing. Yes.
So you when you go to people's homes to personal train with them, you take precautions.
Oh yeah. No, before I even start with any equipment, I already carry some hand sanitizer, like in the car always, wherever I go, and I have my own Lysol wipes that I wipe down my equipment with before I go. So I have some basic stuff though. I've got, like a slam ball, I've got kettlebell, we've got dumbbells, little things like that I bring to the house, unless they've got their own equipment. But like I said, more often than not, most people don't just have a TRX hanging up in the corner of their house. So I bring mine. And so there's different things that I like to use. Mini bands, long, like close-ended bands. There's so many different things you can use, for sure.
Speaking of TRX and bands, are there simple exercises where people can do with bands at home?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is where you're starting to realm into like technical exercises. So if I were to throw a random one out, which would be standing lateral kicks with a band, and you stand on top of the band and you're kicking your feet out. It's not an intense exercise, but it's a really good exercise for people who have knee pain because it's working on the glutes, and it helps utilize the glutes when you're moving in everyday life, because most people's glutes are inactive because you're sitting on it all day. A lot of my clients who work IT or just, they're sitting for a long period of time, you're sitting on your butt for so long that it's pretty much not fired up and not being utilized. So therefore, when you're walking around, squatting, sitting up, and whatever you're doing, you're making your quads take. Your quadriceps is a muscle on top of your thigh,
Right.
and that is the muscle that's being overused because your glutes aren't helping in the middle of the squat or in the middle of the lunge. So more often than not, sometimes it can help with knee pain. But again, that's one of those exercises where it can get a little technical and form gets a little bit more precise. Like a plank is not that complicated. It's not rocket science. Most people can just type in plank on a Google search, elbow or hands, and that's it. You're good to go. Because it's a basic movement that most people have seen before, have heard of. But a standing lateral banded kick is, now we're talking something a little different, or a banded pull apart for your upper back. Like, there's a lot of different stuff you could do. Plenty.
I tell people this every time I talk about you. I never forget that when I had my rotator cuff issue, and it hurt like a lot, and so we were working together, and I think one thing that really helped me recover is the exercise with the bands, the ones you were
absolutely
you made me do with with those bands. That was one of the best exercises that I did for my shoulder, and
the thing about bands that I like is that you get to really, number one, it's mobile. Nobody wants to walk around with a giant 10, 15, 20-pound dumbbell. The band is just, very small. You can just move it around. It's really lightweight. But the thing, too, about the band is you really get to kind of play around with the leverages. If I'm doing a bicep curl with the dumbbell, the range of motion and the way it's loading my muscle group is a lot different than the way a band would. A band will give you constant tension, whereas a dumbbell, depending on the angle and relative to your leverages and your joints, it's going to be a little different, and it's not going to maybe work as effectively. It depends on the movement, and it depends on your intent behind the exercise to begin with. But yeah, bands are probably one of the best things anyone could have to begin with because they're cheap. And like I said, they're very mobile. You take them to the park, you do them while you're watching, use them while you're watching TV or whatever the case. It's really, really simple. They're not too complicated. And it kind of throws a little bit more into the mix where if you did have a band, then even better, because now we can make it a body weight / banded exercise, circular routine. And now you have a little bit more variety. So yeah, but there's plenty more behind that.
You're the man, Nick. You're the man.
I try
so much. So just to reiterate, Nick is a certified personal trainer. He does in-home personal training, and he's a really cool guy. I love this guy.
I try.
He's very knowledgeable, and so if you need Nick, I will put his information in the show notes, and you can call him and hook up with him, and maybe he can show you some good exercises. Nick, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Talk again. Send me that stuff so I can put it on the show notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Got you. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye. Got it? Yeah.